Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video episode on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian. I am here today at the Rock Island Auction House taking a look at some of the guns in their upcoming December of 2015 auction. And one that I wanted to take a look at was this guy. It looks kind of like a ruby. It sort of is a ruby. Now, I'm interested in this for a couple of reasons. For one, I've been shooting a ruby recently, and you know, those were actually a French military issue handgun during the First World War, although they don't really get any respect. But they are, in fact, a hugely mass-produced military sidearm. And they were made by a bunch of different companies in Spain, in the Eibar region of Spain. And the ruby was kind of the breakout for a company called Gabilondo y Urresti. They were able to interest the French government in this pistol in like 1915, and the French ordered literally hundreds of thousands of them. Gabilondo, apparently by their own records, they manufactured something like 200,000 of those guns for the French. Well, when World War I ends, of course, they've tooled up, they have a lot of production capacity, and they no longer have these huge orders coming in from the French. So they have to come up with some other products to manufacture. They kept making the military style rubies for the civilian market. They also manufactured a lot of these guns in scaled down in .25 automatic. That was a popular caliber for civilian carry at the time. And they also scaled the guns up and looked into some other potential military police sort of contracts. One of the guns that they did was this one. This is called a Plus Ultra. And it is, mechanically, it's a ruby. It is, however, larger than a ruby. They scaled this thing up. So here's a standard French Army ruby. Here's the Plus Ultra. We'll get some video of them down here on the table so you can get a better idea of the size comparison. What this does differently is magazine capacity. So this is still chambered in .32 auto, but it has this massive double stack 22 round magazine. These were manufactured, like I said, after the war. Based on the proof marks, I believe this is a 1927 production gun. They did actually make a small number of these with full auto selector switches. With a 22 round magazine, that actually makes a little bit of sense. Frankly, in .32 auto, it makes a little bit more sense than some of the other machine pistols that were out there. But not a whole lot of these were made, and when I saw this one in the catalog, I figured this would be a good one to take a look at. So why don't I bring the camera back, and let's take a closer look at exactly what the internals of this thing look like. All right, so here we have a regular ruby, and then this is our Plus Ultra. So you can see on the Plus Ultra, both the frame and the slide are extended, and then while the slide is actually a little bit wider, and the frame is definitely wider in order to accommodate this rather large double stack magazine. So it's got 20 index holes. It actually holds 22 cartridges of standard .32 ACP. Like I said, a few of these were modified or were produced as machine pistols. That was about 1933, and not a whole lot of them had that done, but it was an option. Now the markings on this one are pretty beat up and hard to see, but there's a little wing logo here that says Plus Ultra over it, and then in script, I don't know if you can make it out, there's the Ultra, the Plus is almost worn away, but it would say Plus Ultra right there. Our caliber is .765, that's .32 caliber, and we have our proof marks on the back here. These would have been from the very first years of the formal Spanish proofing law. So I believe that this is a 1927 gun, although I could be mistaken on that. All right, now for disassembly, the safety here normally would have a little hook. Again, this one's kind of worn. I'm going to flip the safety up and then lock the slide open, like so. Safety pops up into that latch. Then I can rotate the barrel about a third of a rotation, and then we disengage the safety, and the barrel and slide come off the front of the gun. So mechanically, this is a straight blowback pistol. It is, as I said, identical in function to the standard ruby. There are a few differences. One of them is this barrel. It's about an inch longer than normal. These lugs are what lock the barrel into the frame, And then these little scalloped cutouts are there simply for grip, because you have to rotate the barrel as part of the disassembly process. If we take a look in the slide, not a whole lot going on here. This one, unfortunately, is missing its firing pin. I don't know if a regular Ruby firing pin would fit in there, but one other change that they made is that these guys were top ejecting. So if we take a look at our standard Ruby ejects out the right side of the gun, the Plus Ultra out the top. And you can see that instead of having a side-mounted ejector, in order to do that, they changed it to a top-mounted ejector. Sights, however, are exactly the same. Actually not that bad to work with for the period. And lastly, we have the frame. This is, like the standard Ruby, this is an internal hammer pistol. So there's our hammer. These three little lugs are what the barrel locks into. So right there. So your disassembly, when you rotate the barrel, you're disconnecting those lugs from their spot in the frame. And then our recoil spring is a captive unit underneath the barrel. Really pretty simple. Heel release for the magazine. And that's all there is to it. That's a large part of why these guns were so popular with the French army, is that they were very simple, they were cheap and easy to make. They tend to be fairly heavy guns because they're kind of overbuilt to accommodate for not needing or not having the best quality of steel. Now, the one other interesting thing about the Plus Ultra is simply its lineage. From the name, the name doesn't convey a whole lot. However, it's interesting to note that this gun was designed by a company which began as Gabilondo y Urresti, the two business partners. They first went into business in 1904, and as I mentioned, they were actually the first company to, they owned the trademark on the Ruby, and they're the ones who first sold the Ruby to the French. That obviously was a huge success for them. They later, Urresti left the company. They became Gabilondo y Cia, which is Gabilondo and Company. And then in 1932, they actually became the Llama company. So Llama had been one of their trademarks on a kind of a 1911 style pistol. And in 1932, they decided to bring all of their guns together under that brand name. So the Plus Ultra was actually developed just around that time that they were changing their name to Llama. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you are interested in owning this guy yourself, maybe find yourself a couple more magazines and take it to a high-capacity tactical pistol match, check out the link in the description text below. That will take you to Rock Island's catalog page on this pistol. You can see their pictures in their description and place a bid online if you'd like to. Thanks for watching.